Hey, what's up, y'all? Today we're talking about how to dominate lane as a control mage. Now, control mages, the big four are Viktor, Syndra, Azir, and Orianna. Those are the big four. All of these champions are going to be what we're talking about today. I'm going to talk about their strengths. I'm going to talk about this term that, this concept I kind of invented, or the term I invented to describe this concept that's all about how to train these guys. I call it mage zoning or mage fencing. And then we're going to show some examples and some maybe matchup specifics. And let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we're playing a control mage to understand is that we have some advantages that other champions don't. We have very, very high range. We have very, very good poke. And we have very, very good wave management. So these tools, we also scale pretty well. So that's like another thing that people know. Our damage, our DPS, or just damage in general, is going to scale well into the late game. And we're going to team fight well. Our team fighting is also going to scale. People often think because your damage is going to scale and your team fight is going to scale, we can just play lane to survive, right? That's wrong. Control mages are lane bullies. If you want to win and climb as a control mage player, and right now I'm rank 1 Viktor. Here, I'll throw up the screenshot over the thing right now. I've been playing a lot of Viktor, and if you want to climb on a champion like Viktor, or Syndra, or Azir, or Orianna, it requires you to dominate lane in terms of the 1v1. Because when we look at our weaknesses, we have poor early skirmishing, right? We don't 2v2 well, we don't 3v3 well. We have bad roams because we have bad mobility and bad rotation abilities. And then we don't have any gank setup, and then it's just bad. We have poor self-peel. So like if we do get caught hanging out in the river or something, we're just going to get popped and ran down. And we have poor burst trades. When we combine all this, we want to use our 1v1 dominance to deny the opponent taking the early skirmishes. That's often how people beat us, right? If we're playing against assassins or burst mages, they're going to try to move and play with their jungle, and they're going to try to get dragons, and they're going to try to snowball bot lane. And if we let them do that, we will just lose. So our job is to be a lane bully, and the way that we bully is we use our 1v1 potential, our range, and our poke damage to whittle down the opponent to make sure that they cannot leave, that they cannot roam, that they cannot skirmish. And we'll use our wave management to make sure our CS is higher. Our win condition, there's a couple of things we're looking to do. One, we're looking to deny the opponent from roaming. This game, it's me playing Viktor against an Annie. We're looking to deny her roaming, deny her 2v2ing, deny her 3v3ing with the jungler. And then 2, I'm looking to be up CS so I can be up income so I can play the team fights a lot better. And that's what lane phase is all about. So that means we're looking for CS lead, and we're making sure her KP stays low. If she gets kills, if she kills my bot lane, if she kills my jungler, if she kills my top, I messed up. I didn't apply enough pressure. So you can see right now I'm applying a ton of pressure to her. Right, I'm saying, hey, Annie, you're not going to be able to step up for this minion. I'm whittling you down to make sure that you can't leave, that kind of thing. So now we're going to talk about this term. I asked Twitch chat, and my dad actually called this mage fencing. He said that mage fencing describes it best. I was trying to figure out what the best way to describe this was. And basically, mage fencing or mage zoning is this trade pattern used to describe how mages take up space. So control mages, we want to control an area. The way we do that is through our abilities and through our cooldowns. The example I use, let's use a different champion so we can kind of have a reference point. A champion like GAREN mid or TRYND mid, like these champions, they're going to take up space, but they're going to use their health bar. So let's say that this is GAREN. He's just going to walk up to the wave, and Syndra's going to hit him, and he's not going to care. He's going to get to manage this wave as long as he still has health. For us control mages, I'm just going to write C mage. The thing that we use to control an area, we do the same thing. We try to control an area. We just use our spells, which means when your spell goes on cooldown, you lose control. When you lose mana, you lose control. So we have to be very careful and use the threat of our spells, the threat of our cooldowns, the threat of our mana to hold space. So here's the mage fencing process. The first thing you want to do is you want to hold your abilities, and as they come up, you're going to walk up as far as you can. And you can see here, I'm into Syndra. I'm building this wave up, so I have a wave advantage. I'm about to hit level 2, so I'm about to have a cooldown advantage. And since I have all these cooldowns and all these things going for me, I am just clicking as far up as I could go. And I'm going deep. I'm going as far as I can. Now, my goal here is to take control of this minion wave area. So I'm going to click up here. I'm going to get to be here. And I'm going to say, Syndra, I'm just going to hold my spells. And I'm going to, step 2, hold spells to pressure for as long as possible. Now, that pressure, it's going to make her harder to last hit. It's going to make it harder for her to trade with us. It's going to make her harder to do things. Now, when she actually calls our pressure and she says, screw your pressure, I'm going to go for the last hit anyways. Maybe she's going to go for this minion. Or she says, screw your pressure, I'm going to try to trade with you. That's when we, from this good position where we stepped up, use our spells. We use the shortest range of spells first, and then we kite backwards. In this situation, if Syndra steps up to last hit, I'm going to auto attack. I'm going to Q. I'm going to auto attack. I'm going to step back, and then I'm going to E. And I'm going to use all my abilities at once and say, look, if you want this minion, you're going to take this whole trade. It's going to proc my Comet. It's going to proc my Scorch. You're going to be down to half health for that one minion. Or if she tries to trade with me, I just do the same thing, and then I back up. And then as I back up, I wait for my spells. That's step number 4. And then we rinse repeat. As the spells come up, we come up again. So it's always this pattern of as our spells come up, we're trying to walk up as far as we can. We're trying to hold this good position for as long as we can. And then once they do something that we can punish, then we kite backwards, stay back until our spells are back up. And then as they come up, we try to get as far as we can again. And this is the pattern. And I call this mage fencing because there's this kind of beautiful back and forth. There's this back and forth with where you're standing. And there's also this back and forth with you and the opponent. You hold your spells until they step into you. When they step into you, that's when you drop your cooldowns. That's when you punish them. Big part of this is kiting backwards after using your spells. That's what control mages always have to do. If you watch a good Orianna player, maybe you're watching Chovy play Orianna, maybe you're watching Dopa play Orianna. If you watch these guys play Ori, after every Orianna Q, these guys put an input backwards. It's the same thing for any Viktor player. If you watch me play Viktor, after I cast laser, I'm always clicking backwards. Right now, the only reason I'm able to click forward is because my laser is up and I'm using it to pressure. And we both know it is. Okay, so this is mage fencing. This little concept, this little trade pattern as a control mage is like how you play lane. That's how we're going to get our leads. And shout out to my dad for coming up with the term mage fencing. Now, when we're doing this, we want to keep the fundamentals in mind. And I actually have an example here from Chovy's game. Chovy's game here, he's actually in the very similar spot that I was in the slide before, where he's level 1, he's slow building this wave, and he's about to hit level 2 when he kills this minion. So what he's doing here is he's clicking up because he has his Q available, and he's about to have his E available, and he steps up here. So this minion dies, and in the second slide, what happened was Silas stepped up, and we hit him with a Q, an auto attack, and an E, and then we walked away. The reason Chovy's clicking back here, look, he's up a bunch of health, he's up the wave, but he's still clicking back because he doesn't have his cooldowns. That's where your threat comes from. When you use them, your threat dissipates. Your threat's gone. So be very careful of where you use your cooldowns. If you find yourself getting all in your games, take a look back and say, did I give them an opportunity because of the way I handled my cooldowns? Right? Did I piss them away and then they were able to just walk in? Or what happened in general, right? The second thing I want to focus here or emphasize is that we got to keep the fundamentals in mind. The fundamentals are key. Trade for a reason. Be very cognizant of cooldowns. Be very cognizant of both sides' cooldowns. That's where our pressure as a control mage is created. Try to stay off the wave if they have a really efficient spell, right? So if they have an AoE spell, let's say you're playing against a Lux and she's going to throw her E and it's going to blow up and hit you. You can't be standing on the wave then. You'd have to be over here in the sides, right? So that she wouldn't be able to hit the wave and us. And we want to really keep the wave state in mind. Keep in mind, as a control mage, you want the wave roughly in the middle. So keep that in mind. The fundamentals are key. So with good fundamentals and understanding mage fencing or that mage zoning, that kind of trade pattern, this is how we're going to dominate lane. We're going to apply tons of pressure on these melee champions. And our goal is to make sure they cannot leave and that we are up CS so that we can scale into the team fight nicely. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see how to play mid-game as a control mage, I have that video on my channel. Make sure you guys go check that out. You can just look up mid-game macro for control mages, and that should pop up. Otherwise, let me know what other types of macro videos you guys would like to see. Let me know if this was helpful. Y'all have a blessed night. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.